Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. I know my colleagues would not expect a debate such as this one without the area representative of Bethesda Leketo, which also includes the village of Golden Lane, contributing to such a motion. This area representative also happens to be the Secretary of Education, Research and Technology, and so you would all expect that this will hold some significance to me. This debate, Madam Presiding Officer and colleagues, is not merely about words. I mean, a lot of us spoke today, but I really want us to understand that this is not merely about words. This debate must inspire action, decisive action more specifically. It must foster collaboration, and that is a key word of today, and it must be able to bring forward transformative solutions for this island of Tobago. Madam Presiding Officer, as we all know, on January 4th, Tobago lost 15-year-old Beres Joseph, a young resident of Seaview, Golden Lane, and of course, my resident, to senseless violence. His murder, and it was the first recorded, and I hope the only one for the year, and we're praying no more, was not just another statistic. Madam Presiding Officer, it was a tragic loss of a child. Someone's son, someone's pride, someone's hope, someone's future. And Madam Presiding Officer, his death has left a family, a community, and an island grieving. Golden Lane, Madam Presiding Officer, where Beres Joseph called home, has been in the last 2 or 3 years identified as one of Tobago's hotspots, one of Tobago's crime hotspots. But this crisis is not isolated to Golden Lane. I am certain that all 15 area representatives can speak to areas in his or her community considered a crime block. We know of the activities that occur at particular areas at particular times of the day, and I'm certain that we can stand in here and say they are not unemployed. They are not all unemployed. Madam Presiding Officer, this crisis reflects a broader issue that threatens the very fabric of this island. And yet, amidst this tragedy, we hear accusations coming from the Minority Council suggesting that this administration is to blame for the upsurge of crime on this island. Madam Presiding Officer, contrary to the misleading, and we always get these misleading comments from the minority, and earlier today I heard one which I would address on this floor, the facts of crime in this country called Trinidad and Tobago tells a different story. In Tobago, more specifically, crime did not begin on the 6th of December, 2021. When this administration took office, Trinidad and Tobago had already been grappling with crime. As a matter of fact, post-COVID, we saw an upsurge. Madam Presiding Officer, for decades, this island, and it's no secret, has faced systematic issues, chronic underfunding of national security, inadequate resources, and a lack of meaningful opportunities for youth. Did it begin on the 6th of December, 2021? The answer is a resounding no. Madam Presiding Officers, these challenges are therefore not the creation of any single administration, nor can they be solved overnight. And while I'm on this point, I want to speak to, I don't have to call it an accusation, a grand charging, but misleading from the minority leader. I have in my possession emails from Udicott dating as far back as 6th of April, 2022, a mere 4 months after we took office. And in one of those emails, I have correspondence after I inquired for a progress report on the WIM Youth Facility, a facility that began with Claudia Groom-Duke, and it went through several secretaries, including Whitney Alfred, Gary Melville, Huey Cadet, Kelvin Charles, Maslin Melville Jack. Minority leader said the project was almost 90% completed when we took office. I can read the entire letter, and I'm going to post that letter on social media to dispel the false claims from the minority leader. The project was only 69% complete. The project was left with a $1.6 million debt, not paid by the previous administration. And they had to contend with challenges where they had to switch contractors and several other administrative issues that stalled that project. I am going to place it on social media so we can dispel the many rumors. Next Friday, Madam Presiding Officer, this Secretary of Education will be recommissioning, along with my colleagues, the Kendall Aquatic Facility. I recently reposted photos on social media on the state we met that facility in upon assuming office. And what I should have done, Madam Presiding Officer, is reshared so the Tobago public would have seen the date I posted. I saw the political leader of the organization, the Tobago Council that is, on social media claiming that we met the facility in pristine condition and we were the ones that closed it because sometime in 2020, you are still seeing photos of activities occurring at that facility. And that is what this administration spent the last 3 years doing. Repairing, renovating, and being left to recommission shoddy work, poorly maintained work, incomplete work to complete at this point in time. And so when we speak about focusing on youth and youth development in Tobago and the challenges this administration currently are having to endure, I want the minority leader to be very, very honest with himself. You all did not do a good job at treating with youth and ensuring that our youth are protected here on this island. Madam Presiding Officer, while others, such as the Minority Council, politicize these issues, this administration, including our area representatives and 13 on this side, have been using their initiative, using limited resources to ensure that youth-based programs are run in their district. In my district, for example, Madam Presiding Officer, last July, August, I launched the Bethesda Legislature Junior Skills Training Camp. And I kind of wanted to do it out of my pocket, Madam Presiding Officer, almost as a pilot, to see how to work this initiative. It was a 2-week-long initiative and much celebrated. A lot of Tobagonians asked me, why can't this be a Division of Education collaboration with Division of ComDev, Youth Dev, and Sport? Because we see the value in our young persons from as early as 10 years old, and I may go earlier in this cohort this year, Madam Presiding Officer. But our young people were exposed to about 30 or so tech-voc areas, from beauty culture to auto mechanics to baking to farine making to smoked fish production, just name it. And they were all able to walk away with a certificate. Of course, not accredited, but of course, they saw the value in spending 2 weeks of their July-August vacation learning a skill, learning a trade. And so upon the successful completion of such an initiative, I have already made a proposal to my division, and a proposal that will also show some collaboration between ComDev, Youth Dev, and Sport, so this program can be run in all 15 electoral districts, Madam Presiding Officer. Madam Presiding Officer, I'm also pleased to announce that with collaboration with Division of ComDev, Youth Dev, and Sport, and I now see why education at one point in time had that youth and sport, because the collaboration is so clear. I'm going to have a youth fair on my table piece grounds. It's the only grounds in my electoral district at the moment, but very soon, of course, ComDev, Youth Dev, and Sport will also be assisting in us clearing some property at Culloden Estate, as Chief Secretary spoke to earlier, so Golden Lane could have this long-awaited, after 16 years of PNM in my electoral district. Finally, promises will materialize with that Culloden Recreation Facility. And so that skills fair, that youth fair, rather, again, as a pilot out of my own pocket, because I like to be able to see what works, what doesn't work before we utilize taxpayers' monies. And so again from February, this youth fair will offer young persons, and now we're going from the ages of 12 onwards, career guidance, financial literacy workshops, skill building sessions, and it will help our young people to gain the practical tools and knowledge they need to thrive. But let me just stop here for a bit, Madam Presiding Officer, because I don't think it's for want of these initiatives that we have these challenges. Because currently, at the Division of Community Development, Youth Development and Sport, we have programs where young persons have been graduating or matriculating out of. Lots of opportunities, and I saw Secretary hosted very recently a celebration of the achievements of persons through their world of work and the yes and so on. But we also have a revitalization of that Roxborough Trade Center, which I'm very proud to say we spent some time ensuring that that curriculum will fulfill the needs of our young persons. But on island, YTEP, MIC, we have the facilities to give our young persons the opportunities. So something else is happening in society, and that is why I say there must be collaboration. And no one government, no one Tobago House of Assembly, no one entity can do it alone. Madam Presiding Officer, earlier the Chief Secretary spoke to some alarming statistics, which I also was privy to as Secretary of Education from USAID, and that revelation of the 8% of students in schools in Tobago that are participating in gang-related activities. But Madam Presiding Officer, behind those numbers are real lives. Children who have been drawn into cycles of crime, and most often out of desperation, a lack of attention, or a lack of opportunity. As Secretary of Education, I refuse to let this define Tobago's story. But Madam Presiding Officer, the fight cannot be waged by this THA administration alone. And so I want to make an urgent cry to parents. And I wanted to take the debate in a different direction, because even though we're calling on national security, I wanted to go in the direction of us taking responsibility for where we are as a country as it relates to crime. And so parents listening out now, this call is for you. It cannot be that with all the resources expended, we have parents who don't understand that they are the first teacher of the child. They are our children's first role models and their first line of defense. Madam Presiding Officer, I want our parents to take an active role in the lives of their children. I want our parents to know the friends of their children, to ask difficult questions, to open the lines of communication, and to guide them towards better choices. But we must admit that not every home would have a parent. We have some scenarios where an auntie, someone in a community who may just know that there are challenges in a particular home, may without signing on the dotted line adopt our children. And they may have children of their own. All right? And so we have to understand that everybody has to play that role of looking out for this island's children. Madam Presiding Officer, that is where the community steps in, and that adage of it takes a village to raise a child. And so we must come together as one Tobago. And I know one of my colleagues earlier said it. You couldn't walk down the street before and not say good afternoon to someone. Everybody in the community had that privilege to correct you. And you dare not go home and say so-and-so hit you. As a matter of fact, you're afraid to say it because more licks was waiting on you if you did. And so we have lost those values as a Tobago. And so we see why we are now on this upward trajectory of the upsurge in crime. Madam Presiding Officer, I want to point out some of the initiatives that I see in my district and I'm seeing across Tobago to show that we're on that right path, but I want some more collaboration. In my electoral district, in the first year, upon assuming the role of area representative, I called it a district cup, and I had football teams from every part of my district compete for a $10,000 out-of-pocket prize. And by the second year, I realized that the area representative doesn't always have to be out front. You can allow the district to come up with the format of whatever that competition is, and you do the sponsorship from the back. And so I told them I'm going to do a 1 year, area rep leads the charge. The next year, a community group leads the charge, and we do that back and forth. And so we've had some successful tournaments on our only recreation ground. We have a Golden Lane Police Youth Club, and I'm congratulating them now, that runs a very solid netball tournament. We have the Tobago Panthers, and they're going to be in Trinidad this weekend, pulling our young people into their hole, that pan side. And unfortunately, because of the upsurge of crime in Seaview Golden Lane, where their pan tent is located, they had to be relocated temporarily to the Golden Lane Government Primary School. Thank God their area representative is also Secretary of Education to grant them that. But they had the opportunity to use another space to be able to ensure that the young persons they house, giving them that opportunity to be able to do something else with their time. And of course, we are going to see them bring that trophy back home to Golden Lane this week. My colleague for the T&Tech East Side is on my, yes, so we are in a very healthy banter here. But the schools in my electoral district, and you would see me reposting with pride over and over again, Bethesda government, Table Peace government, Golden Lane government, always on these anti-crime, anti-violence, anti-bullying walks, all right? And getting the communities through village councils, getting the communities through PTA, getting the communities through these police youth clubs, through fisher folk, through just bringing the community together, and not always having to depend on an area representative to lead the charge. And I want to congratulate not only my electoral district, but the electoral districts. I'm seeing a lot of good work happening in your district, your Zion youths. Everybody can speak to a community group that is taking the initiative and not just allowing the area representative to take responsibility for fixing the challenges. So, Madam Presiding Officer, as I said before, a community facility, because we just reopened one, recommissioned one there in Legislature. And then, of course, I'm eagerly awaiting the turning of the sod at the Culloden Recreation Facility, but facilities are not enough. A brand new spanking facility could be opened tomorrow. And if we don't fix the very fabric, the mere values of our communities, of this island, then we're still going to have the challenges. And so I want to say that no matter how much we accomplish as a Tobago House of Assembly, admittedly, we cannot do this alone. National security, therefore, remains the constitutional responsibility of the central government, and we must continue to hold them to account. Tobago has been under-resourced, and it's a fact. We cannot sweep it under carpet. Under-resourced in this area for far too long, and it's time we demand you send the resources and allow us to take charge of our national security issues, or you do better from Port of Spain. Madam Presiding Officer, the fact is we need more officers, we need better equipped law enforcement, we need better policing strategies tailored to suit our unique needs. And so politicizing crime, and I'm seeing it, I mean, it's so hypocritical, because in one breath you're asking us not to do it, but you're saying the upsurge began in 2021 when we took office, but national security is not our issue. So you're finding a way, and for every challenge raised here in Tobago, and that analogy or comparative analysis can also be taken overseas, over the waters rather. For every challenge brought by the minority leader, and with a timeline or a particular period of noticing an upsurge in crime, we can also say the same for Trinidad. And so that does not solve the problem. And so the accusations brought here by the minority leader are baseless. I think they're counterproductive to the conversations we need to have, and they distract from the work that needs to be done. And what I think Tobago needs now more than ever is not division, but unity. Tobago needs leadership, as we have in the Honorable Fali Chavez Augustine, that focuses on solution and not blame. Madam Presiding Officer, this is not just about that child, Beres Joseph, from my electoral district that we lost on the 4th of January 2025. This is about every child who deserves to grow up safe. It is about every parent who should never have to bury their child. It is about every community that deserves peace. And I want us to let the memory of Beres Joseph, who I hope is the only life we're going to lose here in Tobago, I want us to honor that memory by taking action. I want us to come together as area representatives, as communities, to reclaim this island called Tobago. I want us to rise up as one Tobago to ensure that our children can grow up safe, grow up free, and grow up be filled with a pride of an island that we all call home. I thank you, Madam Presiding Officer.